China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has reached out to India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. China has expressed readiness to join hands with India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval to, and I quote, properly handle, unquote, issues related to the situation on ground in the border areas. In his message to Ajit Doval, Wang Yi said, China and India, as the two most populous developing countries and emerging economies in the world, share a relationship that transcends bilateral boundaries and holds increasing global significance. He added that the two nations should jointly safeguard peace and tranquility in the border areas. China's stance is perhaps likely after India's strong response along the LAC, or India's refusal to say that it's business as usual till there's normalcy restored at the India-Tibet line of actual control. India's bonhomie with Russia and China's shifting focus to Taiwan are also being seen as perhaps some of the reasons why China is, dare I say, smoking the peace pipe. So what should one make of Chinese Foreign Minister expressing readiness to join hands with India's National Security Advisor to properly handle issues related to the situation along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh? A change of heart or another trap? Joining me on India First is Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, former Ladakh co-commander, and Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, a former top diplomat and a keen China watcher. General Sharma, what do you make of Wang Yi's statement? He's also China's special representative on India-China border talks mechanism. Are these just pleasantries, or is China exploring forward movement now that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has returned to power for a historic third term?
Thank you for inviting me, Gaurav. The fact is that there have been, this is the second meeting here. The first meeting took place in Astana in Kazakhstan between the Foreign Minister, the External Affairs Minister, and Mr. Wang Yi himself. And then, of course, this message has come across to the NSA. Now, the fact of the matter is, how do you define normalcy? Is normalcy defined on the borders by retaining this large quantum of force that is deployed there and the infrastructure to employ that force at a moment's notice? Second part of the issue is that are they wanting to allow the patrolling that has been stopped by their occupying those areas along the line of actual control which they are occupying, and which, like we have been denied to patrol the Depsang Bulge or the areas of Pegongso. So are they going to permit us to do all that? Is that normalcy? So if you ask me a personal opinion, that normalcy is not in discussion. If all that it comes out is that they say, okay, we take what we are as a normal border management and control, and this is what they have been saying for last 3 years.
Yes.
That the way the border is held today, that becomes the normal border management and control, which should not be acceptable to us for many reasons. One being great distrust.
Absolutely.
How do you trust China, especially on the borders, after 6 treaties have been signed from 1993 to 2013, and in the course of last 4 years, as you have followed it very keenly, there have been 21 Corps Commander level talks. There have been 15 WMCC meetings that have taken place in India and in China. And then the principal foreign ministers have been meeting so often.
Yes.
And there has been just no movement whatsoever in Chinese talking about withdrawal from this place or de-escalate the forces that they brought into this area, and they're still retaining it there.
No,
so,
de-escalate and de-induct, hopefully.
Yeah.
So let me take this to Ambassador Sajjanhar. Ambassador Sajjanhar, what's your take on the timing of this message? Should it be linked to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Moscow, or the conversation between Dr. Jaishankar and Wang Yi on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization and in Astana?
Well, thank you very much, Gaurav, for having me on your show. I am not inclined to read anything significant or substantial in what Wang Yi has said. You know, this is not the first time that Wang Yi and Dr. Jaishankar have met. And if he had to convey something, he could have conveyed to Dr. Jaishankar in Astana. You know, it's when he met him on the sidelines of the SCO. It is, Prime Minister Modi had already come back to power. It is not as if, it is a subsequent development. And he has, in concrete terms, in substantive terms, he has not mentioned anything fresh or anything new.
Yes.
This formulation has been a long-standing formulation that the Chinese have been using, that we should properly handle the border issue, basically saying that we continue to discuss whichever way it is, but other relations in other areas, we continue to work on them, whether it is business, whether it is investment, whether it is other areas of cooperation and collaboration, which they would like to do more with India. But India has made it very clear that till there is no peace and tranquility, till there is no status quo ante that is restored of April 2020, there is no going to be business as usual. And I think that message has been very clear right from the beginning. You would recall
Fair enough.
that in September 2020, both Jaishankar and Wang Yi had met in Moscow, again on the sidelines of the SCO meeting. Even Mr. Rajnath Singh and the Chinese defense minister had met in September 2020. And same message was given that, it has to be status quo ante and on the basis of three mutuals. Mutual interest, mutual respect, mutual sensitivity.
And that is not happening. But General Sharma, President Xi and Chinese armed forces, they're increasingly being seen as more aggressive on the Taiwan front. So is China trying to ensure that the India-Tibet border remains peaceful? Or do you see this as a trap being laid for us?
So I don't know, one doesn't know what goes on in the minds of President Xi or any one of these his mandarins across there in China. But the fact of the matter is that there is a threatening posture and we have to be prepared for the threatening posture. And there is no possibility of any relaxation being carried out to the threatening posture all along the front. It's not Eastern Ladakh alone. It's right up to the other side opposite Kibutu. So the fact of the matter is that there is a threat which exists out here. Whether the Chinese feels satisfied with what they have, but even after 2020, they have been Yangtze, and as we news filters and subsequently, there have been many other places that the Chinese had tried to probe around on the other borders. So frankly, things are not at peace at all. And if they're not at peace at all, there is just no question of relenting on any one of these the postures that we have been occupying for so long. There is distrust among people. You cannot go into another agreement. We can talk for all we care. I mean, talks must take place, but should not be any agreement that puts our troops into a problematic situation in managing the borders.
Okay, Ambassador Sajjanar, the United States is busy on multiple fronts. Ukraine, West Asia, now elections in the United States of America. Will China want to take this advantage of US being focused elsewhere to try something in Taiwan and therefore wants to ensure that the India-Tibet LAC remains peaceful while China focuses on Taiwan?
No, this could definitely be a very tempting proposition as far as China is concerned. And I think China has also seen that although Russia might have started off very poorly, very badly, very weakly in February 22, but today it is in a much more dominating and much more commanding position. And the manner in which the United States is going forward, it's focusing all its energies on Russia and that's what we've seen even out of the NATO summit that took place in Washington, D.C. Focus is on Ukraine. And so it could be tempted to feel that the eyes are off East Asia, eyes are off Taiwan, and it could go into an adventurous move there. But I think it is going to, I don't think China is really prepared. China has a lot of problems domestically also. And I don't think it would like to take this sort of move at this particular stage where the outcome could be, is definitely not a given outcome that they would like to have.
And especially when their outcome, what they thought would happen at the LAC did not go according to China's best laid plans.
Absolutely. And not the first time, whether it was Doklam or it was April 2020 and beyond Galwan, they never expected that India would be able to come with a mirror deployment of 50,000 troops and all the armor and equipment, and also take over the Kailash ranges there and look down upon China as to what it is doing. So I think it had to become defensive, and so it knows that it cannot take India for granted.
Okay,
so
General Sharma, both India and the United States have been very active even on the Tibet issue. The interactions of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in the United States of America, the visit of the US delegation to India. How would China, in your appreciation, be reacting to India's attitude, India's changing attitude, especially when it comes to Tibet? Is India now playing the Tibet card openly?
So no, I mean, this is normal. We have had relations with Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government for a very long time, and we have not changed our stance at all on our relationship or our position on Tibet as far as India is concerned. Now, the Chinese may not like it. Obviously, they will not like it. They will protest, even if a thank you comes and a congratulatory comes from the Taiwan president to our prime minister saying that congratulations you for third term. They don't like it and they make noise. So be it. These are automatic things that the Chinese government may do. We do what we feel right, and that's what we are doing. Also about Tibet in this manner.
Okay, last 30 seconds on this show. Ambassador Sajjanhar, has China accepted the fact that India is very firm, no business as usual with tense borders? EAM Jaishankar also repeatedly made that clear. Will this force China to disengage, de-escalate and de-induct? Or are we now looking at permanent deployment all along the LAC from Arunachal to Ladakh?
Okay, last 30 seconds. I would be very surprised if China were to make any significant changes in its policy towards India in the foreseeable future. I think China feels that it has things going for itself. It can bleed India by stationing its troops there in such large numbers. It can withstand the pressure. It will be difficult for India to withstand the pressure because of the problems, because of the fact that India wants to focus on domestic development, etc.
Okay.
I will not, be sanguine that there is going to be any change in China's policy anytime soon. We need to keep ourselves prepared in every which way, whether it is economy, whether it is military preparedness, whether it is our external engagement, Indo-Pacific, all the areas we need to be focused on and keep ourselves ready for any unknown eventuality that might take place on the LAC and
Ambassador Sajjanhar and General Sharma for joining me here on India First. Many thanks. We'll be tracking the situation all along the India-Tibet border very, very closely as the situation remains grim.